Hello everyone and welcome back once again. This is your science teacher here, and this time I am here with the fourth chapter of grade 6 science NCERT textbook, that is sorting materials into groups. Students, in this chapter we will basically learn to group objects in different ways, and we will also learn about the materials used for making different kind of objects, and then we will learn about the properties of different materials. And students, this chapter would help you to make proper use of materials based on the intended use of the object. And thus ultimately in this chapter we will learn and discuss the various properties, that is appearance, hardness, soluble and insoluble property. And moreover, we will also learn about the transparency of materials, and we will gain knowledge about the transparent, opaque and translucent materials. Furthermore, we group the materials on the basis of similarities and differences in their properties. Thus, overall, at the end of this chapter, we conclude that it is necessary to group things together for ease and to study their properties. So let's start. The first topic of this chapter is object around us. Students, in this part of the content, we basically focuses on the importance of keeping different materials as a group and their uses in our daily life. Students, as you can see here are different kind of objects like desk, chair, books, notebooks, pencil case, backpack, scissors, compass, pens, clips, pencils, so on. Now, if we wish to make a group of objects that are made of plastic, then we will categorize basically clips, pencil sharpener, pencil case in that category. Now, students, similarly, if we make another group of objects that are made from wood, then we may find a desk, chair, pencil, colored pencils, etc. in that category. Now, students, in the same way, in our everyday life, we often group materials for our convenience. Like at home, we usually store things in such a manner that similar objects are placed together. Such an arrangement that helps to locate them easily. As have you ever noticed that whenever we need clothes to wear, we find in almirah, not in the kitchen. And in the same way, when we get sick, we use the doctor's thermometer, not a pen or pencil. And students, as you know, that every material has its importance, and materials are basically grouped for our convenience and to study their properties. Now students, as you can see here the heading, properties of materials. Students, as I said, that we basically categorize materials into different groups on the basis of their properties. So in this section, we will discuss some properties of materials according to which materials are basically categorized. First one is appearance. Students, basically materials can be classified on the basis of how they look or how they appear to be. As you all know that every material usually looks different from each other, as wood looks very different from iron, and in the same way iron gives shine and sound, and it conducts heat and electricity as well, whereas wood hasn't this type of properties. And students, as you know that some materials have luster while the others are so plain and dull looking. As you can see here, gold, silver, copper, and all of you know that these three materials basically are very lustrous, and that's why they are used to make different kind of ornaments and different kind of vessels. But students, usually a metal loses its luster or its shine when we use them again and again. And why this so? Due to the action of moisture and air, and therefore only freshly cut metals appear to have luster or shine on them. Students, the next property is hardness. Students, as you know that when we touched any material that is basically made from cotton or sponge, it usually feels soft, while stone, wood, bricks feel very hard. And as we know that materials which can be compressed can cut, bend or scratch easily, and that's why such materials are called as soft materials. Students, whereas those materials that cannot be scratched, cut or bent easily and they are very difficult to compress are termed as hard materials like stone, wood, etc. The next property is soluble or insoluble. Students, as the heading suggests here, materials that can be dissolved in water upon stirring, means when we add something on water and when we stir them, and if they dissolve in water, then we can say that these materials are soluble materials like sugar, salt, etc. While the materials that cannot be dissolved in water, whether you stir them continuously, are termed as insoluble materials like stones, clothes, etc. And they will not dissolve in water. So those materials that can be dissolved in water are termed as soluble materials like sugar and salt, and those materials that cannot be dissolved in water are termed as insoluble materials like stone, clothes, dust, etc. And students, just not only solid particles, even liquids have the property of being soluble or insoluble. As you all know, when we basically add oil in water, oil forms a separate layer above the water, means oil is insoluble in water. Whereas if we add lemon juice in water, it completely dissolves in it. It means lemon juice is soluble in water, whereas oil is insoluble in water. So we can say that not just only solid materials, even liquids also have the properties of being soluble or insoluble. Now, the next property is objects may float or sink in water. Students, you might have noticed that some materials float in water while some other sinks. Materials like sand, sugar, salt, stone sink in water, while materials like dry leaves, wax, oil and wood float on water. And students, do you know why this happened? Because generally substances that have less density than oil and water can float, but those substances that have high density than oil and water can sink. But have you ever noticed about cotton ball? It initially floats on water, but after a few minutes cotton ball sinks because it absorbs water. So this is the another property according to which we can categorize material into floatable material or sinkable materials. As you can see here also that in this figure, this one is the cork, and cork has the less density. That's why when we drop cork in water, it will float. Whereas when we drop iron clips in water, it will sink. It means the density of iron clips is more than that of water. Now students, the next property is transparency. Students, materials can also be grouped on the basis of their transparency. Students, just imagine if you are playing hide and seek with your friends and they keep themselves behind a glass door. So can you locate them? Obviously, your answer will be yes, you will locate them. Now, can you answer why you will locate them? Because the glass door that your friend used to hide himself is basically a transparent materials. And students, transparent materials allow almost all the light to pass through them, and due to which the object or person behind them can be seen clearly. As you see here, this one is a glass, and we can easily see through them because glass allow all the lights to pass through them, and that's why we can see anything just behind the glass. So students, such kind of materials or objects which can be seen through are said to be transparent objects, whereas those objects and materials through which things can be seen but only partially, such type of objects are called translucent objects. Now students, can you answer me why these materials do so? Because these materials don't allow light to pass through them completely. That's why we are able to see objects but not completely. Like butter paper and frosted glass, we can see through them, but the image that we get is blurred, not clearly, and such type of objects are termed as translucent objects. Now students, that's how we can group objects on the basis of their appearance, whether they hard or soft, or we can categorize also on the basis of their compressedness or non-compressedness nature, or we can also categorize them on the basis of their solubility in water and in another liquid, and we can also categorize them on the basis that whether they are floatable or sinkable, and lastly if they can be seen through clearly, partially, or not at all. So students, in this way materials can be basically grouped on the basis of their similarities and differences. Now students, there is a question that why do we need to group objects? Students, we need to group objects basically for a number of reasons. As the first one is convenience to store. As we already discussed in the earlier section of this chapter that on the basis of their uses, we can group objects into different categories. And students, as you know, we often group objects in order to store similar objects together and in order to make locating them easier in the future. As even in your homes, your mother basically store spices together in the kitchen while the storing washing products in the bathroom. And students, can you answer why your mother do so? Students, your mother do so because basically grouping materials saves our time, energy, and makes our work easier. The next reason is convenience to study. Students, we also group objects because it helps us, or it became easy for us to study their features as well as the pattern of their features. So that's why we basically categorize objects or materials into different groups. Now students, that's all about your chapter number 4. Now I will be come back soon with another chapter. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy.